Hey, it's Brooke. I'm back with the second video in our series on the anatomy basics. So again, we're still in Unit 1 and still in Concept 1, which is anatomy basics. But this time we're going to be talking about organ systems. In our last video, we described how we are organisms that are made up of organ systems. And I just wanted to take a couple minutes here to overview each of the organ systems and just give you a sense of like what's involved, what structures and functions you can expect to learn about as we go through the year. Okay, so the first system that I just want to point out is our skeletal system, and our main function of our skeletal system is support, but it also provides protection for a lot of our vital organs, like particularly the things that are right down the center of you, like your brain and your spinal cord, your heart and your lungs are all encased in bone. They are also involved in movement, so your muscles need something to be able to move with. So the structures of the skeletal system that we're going to be learning about are going to be bones, tendons, ligaments, and the cartilage, which holds everything together. Okay, the next system is our muscular system. The muscular system's main function is movement and also stabilization, particularly of our joints. Each of your joints, as we'll learn about, have a different ranges of motion. And a lot of what your muscles do is help to keep them within that specified range of motion. And so we're going to be learning about skeletal, smooth, and cardiac muscle cells as we go into that system. All right, next up is our nervous system, which includes your brain, your spinal cord, and the rest of the nerves that coordinate with the rest of your body. And so nervous system's got a big job. And I mean, you could say that all of the body systems have big jobs, but the functions of the nervous system are to collect and to process and respond to any information that's coming in through our senses. They also control our actions. And so these actions could be voluntary actions or things we do without even thinking about it, like our heart continues beating or our food is digested just as we're sitting here. And so the key structures that we're going to be learning about are the brain, the spinal cord, and then all the connected nerves and the sensory organs like the ears and the eyes and the nose all have specialized neurons, which are the name of the cell that makes up the nervous system. But they each have specialized neurons that are involved with whatever that sense is, whether that's taste or smell or vision. All right, so here, continuing with our things that control and coordinate our body systems, your endocrine system is involved with hormones. And your endocrine system creates hormones that help regulate the body. And the body can then grow. It can continue with metabolism, which is in anatomy terms is like all of the chemical reactions that are happening in your body and things like sexual development, among other things. And so the key structures here are your hypothalamus, which is in your brain. Even though it's not part of the nervous system, it coordinates really closely with the nervous system. And then you have a series of glands all over your body. And these can be things like your pituitary gland, your adrenal gland, your thyroid, your ovary or uterus, for instance, also secrete hormones. Okay, next up we have our cardiovascular system, and this is a system that's involved in transport, and so it helps bring in gases from the lungs and transport them around the body, and then pick up that CO2 from the cells of the body and return it to the lungs so it can be exhaled. And then also nutrient transport as well. So after you have a bite to eat, that the nutrients that your body has broken down, all those molecules dissolve into the bloodstream and circulate around the body. And so this system includes your heart and blood vessels like arteries and capillaries and veins, and the blood itself. Okay, next up, involved in transport is your respiratory system. Its big function is gas exchange. So it's going to be bringing in oxygen and getting rid of carbon dioxide. There are a few other functions that go alongside it. Like you wouldn't be able to hear my voice, for instance, without the respiratory system. It's obviously quite quite important for a number of other things too, but that's the big thing. And so the structures that we're going to be looking at this term include the lungs, nose and mouth, the trachea, the diaphragm, and other muscles that are involved in the exchange of oxygen and and carbon dioxide. Okay, digestive system is in charge of breaking down your food and absorbing nutrients for your body. And these structures include your mouth and your teeth, your stomach, your intestines, and other organs that are involved in secreting different enzymes that will break down your food and help your body absorb it. Okay, also got your urinary system, which is your kidneys and your bladder, is a huge job of maintaining water balance in the body, helps get rid of any waste that build up in the blood. It also regulates your blood volume and blood pressure, and it filters out your blood. So the kidneys and bladder are going to be your big structures in this system. Okay, here's one that we often forget about, but this is called your integumentary system. This is your skin and hair and nails. And so its main function is acting as a barrier to protect your body from the outside world. It's really involved in regulating temperature, controlling water loss, and then just also helping you perceive the world around you. And so you can tell the temperature or how much pressure something is and so forth because of your skin. And so this is your skin, your hair, your nails, and then any of the associated glands, like your sweat glands, for instance, which will help regulate your body temperature. Okay, so the lymphatic system's kind of a wacky one, and we do include the immune system in there. But one thing just to kind of keep in mind, your immune system is pretty closely related with your endocrine system, and your lymphatic system is really closely related to your cardiovascular system. But it's got a huge job. It interacts with everything. I shouldn't have prefaced it in that way, because its job is to defend, deflect, and destroy infectious agents that make their way into the body. And so these things include your lymph nodes, lymph vessels, thymus, your bone marrow, your spleen. And so those are all things that are involved with this system. And I think we're nearing the end here. And last but not least, we've reached our reproductive system. And so in humans, we have two different biological sex-based systems. So these are the things that allow animals to reproduce. So we can produce eggs or sperm, also makes the hormones and that lead to different secondary sex characteristics, and also help us to nurture our developing offspring. And so some of the key structures for the male are the testes and the penis. And for the female, it's going to be the vagina, uterus, and ovaries, which are the main structures that are involved. And we'll be learning more about each of those different systems and the roles that they play in our body as we go on. As you know, none of these systems that we've looked at function in isolation. They all work together. So as we go back through these slides, you could be thinking of them as all working together to keep an organism alive, to keep you. And let me know if you've got any questions about the different organ systems or their functions and key structures. And otherwise, we'll see you next time.